This woman spent nearly 10 months pretending to be pregnant, and when her due date arrived, she needed a baby. Netflix just dropped a documentary about this case, and the details are absolutely horrifying. 21-year-old Reagan Simmons Hancock lived in New Boston, Texas with her husband Homer and their 3-year-old daughter Kinley. Friends and family described Reagan as someone with a beautiful soul, and she brought joy to everyone around her. She loved being a wife and a mother, and she was really excited about welcoming her second daughter, who she was going to name Braxton Sage. But on October 9th of 2020, everything changed. That morning, Reagan's mother arrived at her home and made a horrifying discovery. Reagan had been brutally attacked and her unborn baby was gone. Police wouldn't have to wait long to find out what happened. Just 30 minutes before Reagan's body was discovered, a 27-year-old woman named Taylor Parker called 911 to tell them that she was in labor and needed help. She told the dispatcher that a state trooper was following behind her and she needed to get to her doctor in Oklahoma immediately. The officer who pulled her over would later describe a disturbing scene. Taylor was sitting in her car holding a bloody newborn wrapped in a blanket. The baby wasn't moving and didn't appear to be breathing. Taylor claimed that she had just given birth on the side of the road, but something wasn't adding up. Paramedics arrived and transported Taylor and the baby to the hospital, but tragically the baby did not survive. Doctors then attempted to examine Taylor after what she claimed was a roadside birth, but that's when her story started to fall apart. That's when medical staff realized that Taylor was lying and she had not just given birth. Taylor eventually admitted that she had gotten into an altercation with her friend Reagan Hancock. They would later discover that she drove to Reagan's house where she would attack her and remove the unborn baby from her womb. And what makes this even more disturbing is that Taylor had been preparing for this moment for months. According to people who knew her, Taylor had a long history of elaborate lies. Friends would describe her as someone who would constantly make stories for attention and would refuse to back down even when she was confronted with the truth. She eventually met a man named Wade Griffin and convinced him that she was pregnant with his child. Taylor posted pregnancy bump photos online. She would share her pregnancy updates, attended her own gender reveal, and she would share what seemed to be her entire pregnancy journey on social media. But there was just one problem. Taylor wasn't pregnant. In fact, she had previously undergone a hysterectomy, making it impossible for her to carry a child. Yet somehow she convinced everyone around her that she was expecting a baby girl. She even brought Wade to doctor's appointments with her, only to have him wait outside while she was supposedly meeting with medical staff, and he truly believed her and he really thought he was about to become a father. As her fake due date was approaching, Taylor was running out of time. On October 9th of 2020, it was supposed to be the date that Taylor was going to be delivering her baby via C-section, but there was no baby. Instead of just admitting the truth, she came up with a terrifying plan. Taylor had developed a social media friendship with Reagan Hancock, and they got along really well because they were both supposedly expecting baby girls, and they just bonded over their pregnancies. The night before the attack, Taylor drove over to Reagan's home and brought gifts. She talked about the nursery and just spent time with Reagan and her family. The next morning, Reagan's husband started to receive weird text messages that didn't sound like his wife at all. Neighbors started to notice odd things happening around the home, like the garage door was open, the family's puppy was running loose, and they tried to call Reagan, but those calls were left unanswered. By the time someone realized that something was wrong, it was already too late. During the investigation, police found overwhelming evidence that linked Taylor to the crime. Every trace of blood that was found in Taylor's car belonged to Reagan and her unborn daughter, and none of it belonged to Taylor. Prosecutors revealed that during the attack, Reagan fought desperately for her life and for the life of her unborn child. She suffered numerous injuries during the attack, and she had defensive wounds on her hands, showing that she was trying her best to protect herself. In 2022, Taylor went on trial for capital murder, and it took the jury less than 2 hours to find her guilty. She was ultimately sentenced to death and remains on death row today.